so much tea, grab your popcorn. About 6 months ago, the bride planned her destination bachelorette trip and charged each of the 11 girls $650 for the Airbnb. I was salty about the high cost, but it's my sister-in-law, so I sucked it up and paid her. I also was suspicious about the high AF price, so I did cross-check the Airbnb listing and it checked out. Yes, this bee wanted a $2,300 night beachfront house. Well, today I'm chatting about wedding stuff with my brother, who is marrying future sister-in-law, and he said something along the lines of, what a relief her dad paid for the Airbnb, because that would have been so expensive for your group. I about choked. I said, hey, are you sure about that? Because all 11 girls paid $650 for the house alone. Maybe run it by her. His face turned purple, so I take it he had no idea. To add to the greed going on here, when I got married, I flew her out, paid for her accommodations, paid hair and makeup, paid for the bridesmaid's dress, and paid for transportation because she was going through a hard time. Now she has the balls to steal from me. I get that weddings are expensive, but don't have one if it requires stealing from your bridesmaids. I'm assuming I'm the only bridesmaids who is aware of what's going on here. Not sure if I should spill to the group or just let it go. There's a chance her dad stepped in and paid for it after the fact, and she just chose not to refund us. I'm not clear on the exact situation and want to avoid embarrassing my brother. Update 1. Thanks for all the advice and support. Yes, I agree with most of you who are saying I'm morally obligated to spill the beans because $650 is not child's play. This is what I'm going to do first. I'm going to talk to my brother and give him a chance to clear it up with sister-in-law. Before I make a scene, I want to understand what's really going on. For example, did daddy pay for the trip but sister-in-law decided to put that towards a different wedding expense? Things like that. That answer will determine when/how I tell the rest of the bridesmaids I'm going to give my brother only 1 to 2 days because this trip is literally next week. Update number 2. Alright, so I regrouped with my brother. My mom also stepped in, bypassed my brother, and got some more info directly from her dad. Here's the tea. Future sister-in-law's dad did not offer to cover the cost until a few months after we all paid for the trip. This was after he found out the cost and was pissed that she chose the $2,300 night house and asked us to pay. Apparently, he threatened not to pay for the wedding if she added more expenses onto the wedding party. According to my mom, who chatted with him directly, he felt embarrassed when he heard about the Airbnb price and wanted to save face with my side of the family, so he gave sister-in-law about $7,000 to cover the cost of the house. She was supposed to refund us, but obviously that never happened. This is where it gets good. So my mom went total FBI and learned that in addition to not paying us, sister-in-law didn't put the money towards a different wedding expense either. She doesn't have it, so where did it go? What did she spend it on? There's currently a full-blown investigation going down between our two families right now. I have been asked by my mom not to alert the bridesmaids just yet until we get the last bits of info and come to a resolution with both sister-in-law and her dad, but we will tell them ASAP one way or another. Update number 3. The plot thickens. So as this drama is unfolding, the maid of honor, who doesn't know what's going on yet, is continuing her duties. We all get a 4-paragraph text from her outlining the dress code for each night of the bachelorette, per the bride's orders. Keep in mind, the bride is asking us all to go out and buy new outfits for each night of the trip, and the themes are wild. Animal print Thursday, fox fur Friday, sparkle dress Saturday, and Barbie brunch Sunday. As if we're all going to go out and buy that blank 1 week before the trip, or at all. Thankfully, the bridesmaids seem to be waking up to the BS. Several of them wrote back saying they won't be able to pull those outfits in time, and one flat out said it's just not going to happen. But that's just a side story to the absolute blank show that is unfolding. My mom is very involved now, and she's paid a decent chunk of the wedding as well, and does not like that the bride is throwing around thousands of dollars from her dad, as well as lying to the bridal party. She set up a meeting directly with sister-in-law to cut the BS and explain what's going on. She told sister-in-law she's going to inform the bridesmaids herself unless she gets a valid answer. At this point, I'm just shoveling down popcorn waiting for the events to unfold. Update number 4. A swan ice sculpture. She used the $7,000 to book a swan-shaped ice sculpture to be displayed at the reception and didn't tell anyone. Turns out her dad banned her from adding any more extras to the wedding design because it was already so expensive and unnecessary. When he Venmoed her for the Airbnb, she thought she was being sneaky and kept it instead. She didn't even tell my brother this. He only found out that her dad decided to cover the Airbnb because those two went out for cigars one night and it came up. So that mystery is solved. Thanks to my mini FBI crew, but now the real questions remain. Where the F is my 650 and how to break the news to my bridesmaids? Out of the kindness of her soul, my mom is giving sister-in-law 24 hours to confess to the bridesmaids and figure out how to pay us back our money. Because you know what? I did not spend $650 on some damn ice. I have kids to feed. I have bills to pay. Amen. It has taken everything in me not to text the bridesmaids group right now, but my mom is trying to give sister-in-law one opportunity to do the right thing. Update number 5. Okay, as promised, here is the latest tea. Served boiling hot. First, let's start with the bride's explanation to her family. Myself, my mom, my brother, her fiance, and her dad. She broke down crying, saying the wedding planning has been getting to her head and she has been crushed under the pressure to have the perfect wedding, which she felt couldn't go on without the alleged ice swan. I didn't buy her sob story. After this whole incident, I think she is a delusional, controlling, attention-starving bridezilla who is using the wedding as a way to compete with other girls on Instagram. By the way, her job is influencer, if I didn't mention that already. My brother took the bait. To be honest, I don't blame him. This is his future wife, and he said he wants to help with her mental health and get her back to a good place. He is disturbed by the situation, but will continue to support her. The wedding is on. Next, let's get into the matter of the missing $7K and whether we're getting our money back. The sad, gut-wrenching answer, probably not. Her dad said he has already paid for the Airbnb cost once and he will not do it again. He said his daughter's 31 and needs to get herself out of her own mess and figure out how to make it right. She chimed in that the $7K is gone and asked how she would possibly pay us back. My brother refused to pay for her screw up. While I love that everyone is finally forcing this B to be an adult, I would like my money back more. Unfortunately, we're not going to get it unless she magically wins the lottery or gets a real job. And there's nothing legally we could do because it would cost way more to sue her. Plus, Now on to the bridesmaids. After some threats from my mom, sister-in-law finally broke down and contacted the bridesmaids in her group chat. She sent a text that made my skin crawl. Hey ladies, you're my bride squad, so I feel compelled to share that my dad recently offered to pay for our batch accommodations. However, being that the wedding is so expensive, I have decided to put his donation towards a wedding expense. I hope you all understand, and I can't wait to party with you all next week. Oh, heck no. I immediately replied back, making sure everyone knew the expense was an ice sculpture. An ice swan. Come on, people. Many of them replied and expressed how they would have loved to use the $650 for something more important, but ultimately no one has backed out. One of the girls started a side chat without the bride and asked if there is any chance of us getting our money back if we force sister-in-law to cancel the reservation. Unfortunately, since we're only a week out, we aren't eligible for a refund. They decided to go through with the batch, or unless it would be a literal waste of $650. As for myself, I'm in the same boat. I would rather run myself over than go on this trip, but $650 is not a small amount, and I can't fathom just throwing it down the drain. I haven't made my final decision yet. If I go, it'll solely be to avoid eating the $650 plus my airfare. I will not be doing any of the planned events or outfits or contributing even $1 more. I would have my own mini vacation as best I can. Mini update. So the side text without the bride popped off and we all agreed to do the following. Number 1, we will be going on the trip, but it is no longer a bachelorette trip. We will all be taking personal vacations with our hubby/significant others while staying at the property. We were forced into this beachfront mansion plus airfare, so we're going to make the most of it. 2, we have all backed out of hosting and paying for the bridal shower. The bride will need to find another way to move forward if she wants to have it. We will attend as guests if she has it, and we will not be gifting anything. Mother of the bride is absolutely furious. More on that later. We're letting the bride know she needs to cancel the ice swan and give us our money back. After some more research, we doubt all of the $7K went towards the alleged swan because it doesn't seem like they cost that much. So final update. I'm going to have to do a part 2 because this is so long, guys. Stay tuned for part 2. Final update. Let me start with this. There is no ice swan. There never was an ice swan. It was all an elaborate fabrication designed to distract everyone from where the missing 7K actually went. R.I.P. Ice Swan. Woo. Turned out there was a reason behind sister-in-law's luxury bachelorette location. Ugh. Here's what happened. All the bridesmaids show up to their beachfront mansions with our significant others. Sister-in-law had already been made aware that it was no longer a bachelorette. But to our complete shock, she was still stunned that we actually meant it. She arrived last in her pre-booked limo, absolutely fuming that no one else showed up to the limo meeting spot at the airport. She was the only one still sticking to the original itinerary. Then she was flabbergasted that the husband / significant others were with us. It was a comedy show at best. Anyway, we went about our individual mini vacations, and eventually someone realized it had been about 48 hours since anyone had seen sister-in-law. I assumed she was mad and either flew home or went to stay somewhere else. Then the unthinkable unfolds. Sister-in-law rolls up the driveway in a wheelchair being pushed by 2 female nurses. The entire group jumped into action thinking something horrible happened. Everyone ran over to see what was going on, but the nurses ushered us away and wheeled sister-in-law into her room. At this point, I'm actually very concerned. We're all banging on the door asking if she's okay. The nurses eventually leave and say that legally can't reveal the nature of her health issue, but assure us she's fine. I call my brother and mom but get no answer, so I finally decide to call her mom, aka the mother of the bride, who was furious that we took over the bachelorette party. Mother of bride reveals what actually took place. She isn't sick. She didn't have a health issue. There was no accident. She got her boobs done. Oh. Yes, folks, you read that correctly. She had planned, as part of the original itinerary, to disappear for an afternoon and return with a set of new melons. I'm sorry, what? The location of the beachfront mansion is conveniently 5 minutes away from a very famous cosmetic surgeon office. The reason she needed this giant blank property was not really to host 11 girls. It was to host 11 girls plus the surgery recovery nurses and personal chef she had reserved for after the operation. There's so much more that we need to unpack. I honestly don't know where to begin. What was her mother's knowledge / involvement in this? What was the cost of the procedure, guessing around 7K, and why was it meant to be part of the batch? What was the purpose of the Ice Swan lie? Will the bridesmaids, myself included, pursue legal action? Where does this leave my brother? Is this lady okay mentally? Was this a horribly misplaced cry for attention? Was it an FU to the bridesmaids somehow? So many questions remain. I am only a few hours back from this trip, so this is all the information I have right now. I was intending for this to be my final update, and I just want to say thank you for all the support, advice, bags of popcorn, and funny input. This has been a wild ride, and I'm glad I could share it with you. So far, we have had this crazy ordeal picked up by the news publications, multiple podcasts, and magazines. I literally want to write a book about this experience. Wow. That is nuts. Like, I can't believe that was a lot. That was a big story. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe.